Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are in the world today. This is another Verbling class. Today we're going to focus on presentations, how to hold effective meetings, and how to speak in front of groups of people. Okay, we'll talk about how small talk is important for meetings, the best type of small talk to use, the importance of having an agenda. Hello, Bill.
Hello, hello.
How are you today?
Well, not bad, not bad. It's Thursday evening here in Northern Europe, but it's pretty late time for this lesson. But otherwise, I think that it's great.
Yeah, the weekend is almost here.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking forward to it too. After class, I've got to make a call to the government and try to figure out why they're asking information they're asking. So that'll take a good half an hour.
Okay.
It always does.
So, by the way, I saw your CV, and I saw that you have worked with Cisco devices, and you are also TOGAF certified
That's
expert.
correct.
So I really decided that I have to come to your class and and hear that what you have to say, since I'm really working with similar kind of things.
Well, what we're going to talk about today is more or less giving presentations, but in the scope of business. So
That's true, of course. I'm not expecting that we would talk about technical things, but your background is very similar with mine.
yeah, I have held technical classes, but you need to have enough of a following to get enough people to be interested in those. Giancarlo, hello, sir.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you today?
Excellent, excellent. I am ready to take your session because this is the only time I can take my sessions. So I take my sessions from 1 to 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like you to be here more often. So I'd like to.
Well, for the next couple of weeks, you'll see me at this time. Unfortunately, though, because I have a regular day job, once I go back to work, I will have to stick to my evening time slots, unfortunately.
Okay, good to hear that.
So, what kind of work do you do?
Okay, I was working as a receptionist in hotels here in Mexico. Uh, I have to travel to the north part of Mexico to work in different resorts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in two resorts, to be honest. In two resorts, I had the opportunity to work in them. So I got a very good experience working as a front desk clerk and as a butler's coordinator. And I had the opportunity to practice my English and to improve it because before working there, my level of English was worse than now. So now I had that experience, and maybe in the future, well, in this moment, I am taking some certifications. I'm trying to get them because in the future, maybe I'd like to teach English here in Mexico.
Excellent.
Um, yeah, and what else can I tell you about me? And I love journalism. I have taken some courses of journalism, and I love what else? I love communication, and of course, English is really, really important for me.
Excellent. Well, I think you're going to have a good class with me today. It's going to be an interesting class and should be fun too. So, welcome.
Thank you
Giovanni.
so much, sir.
Hi, teacher.
Hi, where are you from, Giovanni?
I come from Italy.
Italy. Well, welcome. North part of Italy or south part?
Yeah, I was born in the south part, but I live in the north part, northwest part.
Ah, okay. I understand they're building a major tunnel through the Alps there to Apparently, traffic is rather congested now, and they're building a massive tunnel. I think it's the Gotthard Tunnel, is it?
Sorry, I have a little bit problem.
Yeah, well, the Gotthard Tunnel, it's the largest tunnel ever built by man, and it's going under the Alps. It's to help connect Southern Europe to Northern Europe in a direct route.
Okay, but across Italy? You know, meaning a tunnel across Italy?
No, I don't. I mean under the Alps.
Oh, okay. Here I live in Piemonte, and here there are a couple of very famous tunnel, like for example, San Gottardo, Frejus, which connect Italy with French, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my first class. This is my first class with you.
Well, welcome. I'm glad you took time out of your day to join me.
Oh, me too. I'm glad to meet you. Thank you.
And Eric, it's been a while, sir.
Yeah, I've been too busy with my studies.
I bet you have. How's life there in Europe?
It's going well. I'm a little bit stressed because I have to begin my examination session in, let's say, 10 days now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I hope it's going to be fine.
I'm sure it will be.
Thank you.
And Alexandra.
Yes. Hello.
You sound wide awake.
I do. It's only 10.
Yeah. It's only 2 o'clock here.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's nice to start some early classes, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Yeah. But I have just come from my work, so I didn't even have a chance to change clothes, so I'm just like in my working outfit in front of the computer.
Understand. Well, it'll be a fun class. It won't be too crazy. We're not going to really explore so many different elements of public speaking. We're just going to focus on a few key elements, right? So your brains won't be hurting after this class. So thank you for joining us. And next to you, I see Ahmed. Hello, sir.
Hello.
I never know which class you're going to come in. If I hold classes late in the day, you attend. Early in the morning, you attend. In the middle of the day, you attend. You seem to be always awake, sir.
No, really. I wanted to attend your class. According to our time, it was last night, okay? But I couldn't really. Wasn't able. That's why. So I am here now.
All right. Well, I want to get on with today's lesson. We talk about speaking, right? Or giving presentations, or lecturing. It's all the same thing, really. For some people, the most difficult thing about speaking is courage. People get nervous speaking in front of others. Even as a student, you might be nervous speaking in front of others here. But for most of us at work, we generally speak in groups of 3 to 10. This is pretty normal. This is pretty common. Okay? And it's very important, or if you are good at facilitating effective meetings, then this will help you advance. Okay? People hate wasting time in meetings. Okay? How many of you have gone to a meeting where it's gone twice as long as it was supposed to? Or you've gone to a meeting that's supposed to end and it goes over your lunchtime or when you're supposed to be going home. Now this is bad for many reasons. One, if your meetings start to go long, people start to lose interest in what you're saying. All they're thinking about is going home, going to lunch, or the other work they have to do. Okay? I know this may not seem like public speaking, but this fits right into giving the presentations that we're going to be talking about. So one of the first things we need to do when we are going to speak is stick to the time you have committed to. Can you guys think of an exception to this? Eric?
Yes, teacher?
Have you ever gone to a meeting that's ended early?
That's ended early.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I've never been. No.
Has anybody ever gone to a meeting that has ended early?
Well, of course.
Yeah. Are you upset because it's ended early?
No, that's a nice thing to have.
Yeah.
It's very unusual, but sometimes it happens.
Okay, here's a funny thing about people. It doesn't matter how long your meeting is. People get upset if your meeting goes longer. If you think you need an hour, book an hour and a half, or maybe 2. If you think you need half an hour, book an hour. Maybe that's an exaggeration. At least give yourself an extra 15 minutes, because people will be thankful if you finish on time or early. But don't go over. All right? So how do we do that? Well, that brings us to our next point.
Excuse me?
Ironic? Is this ironic? I didn't get your point, teacher.
Sorry, about which?
No, it sounds like you have been contradictory, because you say that people get upset when you go longer, but at the same time you say that we should prepare ourselves to go over the time. I didn't get
I don't understand the contradiction, though. Could you explain?
Maybe the contradiction which he means is that first, that's how I understand Eric, is that you say that it's better to finish earlier, and at the same time you say that you stick to the time.
Okay.
Is that?
No, I didn't contradict myself. What I said was, as you can see in point 1, stick to the time you have committed. And then I said, is there any time where it's okay not to do that? Right?
Okay, yeah.
And then I said, the only time it's okay not to use the entire time is if you're going to let people go early.
Yeah, I consider, teacher, that we are talking about organization, because if you, for example, you are going to be there in front speaking about a product or whatever, you must organize your time, your ideas as a speaker, and maybe before beginning the session, maybe you need to talk about the time you are going to spend talking about the product and how long the meeting is going to be. Sometimes
all right, perfect.
In Mexico, for example.
So what do we call that?
Mexico, I don't know, maybe organization, or maybe...
Take a look at point 2 that I just wrote.
Agenda.
We have an agenda.
Exactly. We need an agenda in order not to bother or disturb or maybe take extra time. But I mean, what I want to talk about is organization.
Well, I'm gonna talk about giving presentations in general within corporations, but this can work to other organizations. So I'm not going to stick to just organizations. But what I want to talk about, I don't want to run too far off topic right now. I want to stick on a few key points, and then we can have a general discussion. So having an agenda serves several purposes. The first one is that when you send out a meeting request, people know what the meeting is about. Okay? They can now choose to attend or not, but they know what it's about. If you send out a meeting request without an agenda, people will just decline it because, hey, I've got better things to do. The agenda also states how much time each item is going to take and who is controlling that item. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, for people who are notorious for going over, people will look at that and realize, oh, this is John's meeting. He says it's an hour, but they always go 2 hours. Right? You develop a reputation. So it's important to stick to that agenda. Okay? And in order to do that, you need someone that can facilitate the meeting. Helps if I spell facilitate right.
Yeah.
Don't blame me.
Yeah.
I type fast, but I make mistakes. It's just part of life. Teachers aren't perfect. All right. So an agenda will cover several things. Okay? And the facilitator is there to ensure that we stay on time. The facilitator will state the desired outcome. We'll introduce the first point on the agenda. And here's something that's important. If people are talking, that person will talk above and say, all right, let's get started. And that person should start the meetings on time. Why is it important to start a meeting on time?
Because it talks about your, the same topic, your organization, and maybe it talks about that you respect the other's time.
Yes.
The other's time. Yeah.
Exactly. You know what? You don't want to start on time because a few key people are late. So what? All those other people that have showed up on time, what you're telling them is their time is not as important as the people who are late.
Exactly. Yeah.
What happens if you're booking lots of meetings and you continually start meetings late? What will people start to do?
Well, to get late to the meeting.
Reputation is bad, yeah.
Yeah, the reputation is bad, but people will just say, hey, I'm not showing up on time. He never starts on time. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So it's very important to start your meetings on time. And you'll get a reputation, and people will always be there on time for your meetings, or they'll apologize when they come late because they realize, oops, I'm late, and everybody's aware that you're late. Okay? So you can get people's attention. It's always good to start with introductions, especially if you don't know everybody there. So state the desired income, do some introductions, and then introduce the first point on the agenda. Follow the agenda. Show people that you have a reason to be there and that you mean to follow your agenda. Okay? If you're not the first person speaking, introduce the other person and hand it over to them. Keep an eye on the time. If it's really important, then you can go over a little bit. You have to use this judgment call, but then know that takes time from somebody else. Okay? If people are late, don't stop talking. Continue.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And you notice this if you come to my classes. If you come to my class late, what usually happens, Alexandra or Ahmed?
Is that you ask me because I'm always late?
No, I actually ask you that because you're in a lot of my classes and you see, okay, when I started this class, did we get right down to the lesson immediately or did we spend some time talking?
We spend time talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, we usually spend about 5 minutes, maybe 10 max, with small talk, creating a comfortable environment, and that's planned into every class that I have. Now, if somebody comes in late, do I then have small talk with them?
No.
No. And if they have trouble getting into Google Drive or some other things, do I spend a lot of time helping them?
No.
No, because I don't want to punish the people who came early by constantly stopping the class to explain things. Once in a while, I'll ask a student such as Alexandra if she could help so-and-so open Google Drive. But I don't reward those for being late, or I don't reward those being late by stopping, taking time, and explaining everything. So quite often I'll say, sorry, I don't have a lot of time to explain what we've already done. If you'd like to go into Google Drive, you can see my lesson plan. Right? And I go right on, because I respect everybody who showed up on time, and I don't restart the lesson.
Sorry, teacher, I have a question. Don't you think that some reasons for which people are late are worth repeating or showing them what you've done with other people?
No. It sounds harsh, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sounds...
Unless you're the president of the organization that I'm working for, no, because this is why meetings go over time. This is why meetings become... Why do we go there? What was the point of that meeting? I don't understand. Right? They lose their focus. If you always stop to explain everything, then what happens is you add more time. You can easily add 10 minutes. If a person does come to the meeting late and would like a recap, say, here's a copy of the agenda, we're at item 6. If you'd like me to go over some of the other items you've missed, let's talk after the meeting. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Thank you.
So you're managing expectations.
Okay.
Right?
Right, thank you.
You're welcome. So that's how we deal with non-attendees or people who are showing up late. Okay. Now, it's good to explain procedures. Here's what also happens in a meeting, guys. Somebody might say, well, what about this? And it's not exactly related to what we're talking about. It's a different topic. And it might be very valid. It might be very important. So what do? It's not related to the meeting, but it is important for the people there to address and deal with. What do? Come on, someone guess, or I'm going to pick on someone.
Okay, can you repeat your idea, teacher?
Okay, who can repeat it for me? I want to get you guys speaking more. What did I ask for? Ahmed.
Sorry, I think I was supposed to ask the same question.
Yeah, what did I ask?
No, I mean, I can't remember now. Yeah, sorry about that.
See, another thing when you're having a meeting too, make sure people are paying attention. Don't assume silence means they agree with you. Alexandra, what did I ask?
Sorry, I didn't hear it.
Is nobody listening? Is nobody listening?
Oh yeah, I was listening to you, but I didn't understand what you said before.
Okay, so let me say it again, and there's a test at the end here. Somebody brings up an item. It's not related to the meeting, but it's important, but it's not related to the meeting. What should we do with that item?
Okay, well, you need to answer. You need to be careful with the answers, because maybe you don't have the right answer to that question, but if it is related to the topic or the meeting you are going to, or the topic you are going to explain or talk about, but you need to answer. You need to give the best answer.
Giancarlo, let me stop you there.
Yeah.
The question was if it's not related.
Maybe it just
it doesn't matter. I think, well...
No, it does. It does. So I want you to answer the question I'm asking. Okay? See, and this is an example of what I'm doing here. You're trying to take us off topic, and I want to stay on topic. Okay, so what happens if these items are not directly related to the meeting? What do we do? It does matter.
I would say that I appreciate.
Skip it.
No, I wouldn't
Skip
say
it?
just skip it. Maybe something like, I appreciate that you brought up this topic, but is it possible to discuss it next meeting, or to set up a meeting which is dedicated to exactly this topic or this item because it's important?
Yes. Okay. Bravo. Very well done. Here's how I would say that, though. I would say, thank you, Mike. That's a really good point that we need to discuss. I've got it on my list of items that is related to the project. However, the purpose of this meeting is to really go over these items here. I want to ensure that we're done by 12 o'clock. Would you mind if I just put this in the parking lot, and then we can talk about this at the end of the meeting if there's time, or I can find another time slot?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You're facilitating, right? It does matter. If it's not related, don't talk about it because you won't have the time.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. It's very important. If you want to keep your meetings on time, you need to know how to facilitate. You need to sometimes say thank you, but that's not really related, because you will have people who come into meetings and try to hijack them. What does it mean to hijack a meeting?
I don't know.
Like plain hijacking, but not literally, but figuratively.
Okay, so if you hijack a plane, what are you doing?
Keep hold of it. You are in the control.
Exactly. So if you hijack a meeting, what are you doing to a meeting?
It's a
Destroy
divination,
it.
right?
Destroy it.
No, you're not destroying it. You're taking control of it.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Now, from my point of view, they might be destroying it, right? But that's why it's important. You have parking lots. Okay, and that's what we call them. A parking lot is a place on the board or on your computer, if you're projecting on a screen, where you write things down. You let people know that it's important by writing it down. You don't just say, for example, yeah, Eric, let's talk about that after, but right now we should get back to the topic, which is blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
That goes so much better if I say, Eric, it's a very important point. We do need to discuss that, but do you mind if we can finish off today's agenda? And then if there's time, we can append it to the end of the meeting. Otherwise, I'll book another session. And as I'm doing that, I'm writing down what he's asked about.
Teacher, in my head, some would say, actually, you don't know the answer. That's the reason why he wanted to ask the question. Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether you know the answer or not. If it's not part of the agenda, put it in the parking lot. Let's face it, guys, you've got an agenda. It's 60 minutes. Every item in there adds up to 60 minutes. You add something else in, guess what's going to happen? It's basic math.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And people will take you more seriously. You want to be firm, but you don't want to be rude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Right, teacher.
All right, I've said a lot. Now, there's more I can say, there's more advice I can give you guys, but I'd rather have a discussion on what I've said. I know some of you are thinking, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but it's different where I work. Or I hear what you're saying, but that never works. So I'm going to pick on, oh, I don't know, veal.
Yes, I'm here.
Problems with what I've said. Do you have any problems with what I said, or do you think it might not work in your environment?
Well, it sounds like that you have a nice theory, but in real life things are not so straightforward always.
How so? Give me a situation.
I mean that, for example, when talking about very complicated matters, whatever they are, it's not always easy to decide that what things are related, what can be perhaps postponed,
True.
and what should be taken care of on that specific meeting.
Well, Veal, as an enterprise architect and a project manager, I can tell you I've had plenty of experiences with complex items, as I'm sure you can imagine from my experience. So here's what I do in those cases. When I'm looking at complex issues, I look at the complexity and I say, can this be done in an hour? No, definitely not. Complex issues, I usually hold 2 to 4 hour meetings. Okay? We still facilitate them. It's okay to go off on a tangent. Okay? But we kind of limit how far off on a tangent we go, right? Sometimes if it's really complex and deep, what I might do is plan 2 or 3 meetings, maybe 2 hours apiece. And in the agenda, when I send out the meeting request, I'll say the other 2 meetings are to further address this issue if we need to.
Yes, it makes sense, yes.
Yeah. It's just what we need to do is we need to be more firm and assertive when we're booking meetings. We need to let people know that this is what we're here to talk about. If it is complex, yes, it might go off topic a couple of times, but that's where you need a good facilitator to realize how far off topic people can go before you have to pull them back.
Well, personally, sometimes I feel that I'm having a lot of meetings with people who are really trying to hijack those meetings very easily. I mean that there is a lot of very talkative persons who really would like to talk about you know, everything, and they really would like to share their opinions about everything and hijack the whole meetings in that way.
It does happen. But notice how I've also managed this class too. I've also tried to keep us on topic. I've allowed students to go off topic sometimes, but if it goes off too far, I do stop and say, well, no, wait a minute, or I disagree, and here, let me explain. I don't just let discussion go without facilitating it somehow. And you need to do that in your meetings too. If people are going off topic, just jump and say, excuse me, can you excuse me for a minute? If they keep talking, you just say, excuse me. They'll eventually get the idea and say, I'm sorry, but we're here to talk about this topic, and I appreciate that this is very important to you, but that's not why we're here. If you want to have a discussion on your project, how important that is, I really would appreciate if you would respect my time by booking a separate meeting to discuss that instead of taking the time that I've booked. Okay. Now, what I'm saying there is very strong. But I need to let that person know, as well as other people in the meeting, that we're here for a specific purpose. And quite often, people will say to you later, thank you. That person's always doing that to me as well. Yeah. The other thing is, don't invite that person if they're always hijacking your meetings. It's easier said than done.
Yeah, that's funny.
If this person is your boss, for example.
I was exactly thinking about the same.
Yeah, don't invite him.
Don't invite him, yeah.
Right? See, what does your boss really care about? Hold on, let me talk to Giovanni. Giovanni, what does your boss really care at the end of the day? What does he want done?
I think my boss wants to make something good in every moment.
But he wants the work done. Yeah. So if your boss is attending every meeting of yours, he's not getting his work done. And you shouldn't need him there all the time. But if he is constantly hijacking meetings, you know what? Hopefully you have a good working relationship with him. Talk to him after the meeting and say, you know what, boss? You're killing me here. You're killing me. And he'll say, what? you're always taking control of the meeting. I can't get the work done that we had the meeting. The reason why we had the meeting, I can't get the work done.
Yeah, you're right. But I'm noticing
just don't invite him.
Yes, but I'm noticing that in this meeting you have to be a two personality, a person with two personality. One for one in a brave version with the other your colleagues, and the second one more smooth if there is, for example, your boss.
Mm-hmm.
So in the one thing, I meaning that you have to is a brave person, as you can say before about late.
You know what, Giovanni? The more you do it, the more comfortable you become with it. You don't want to be rude, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to be rude, but you do need to take control of the meetings.
Yeah. It's the flexibility. I think it's the most important characteristic for manage this meeting.
Yeah.
To manage this meeting, yeah.
Yeah, it really is. I've gone into meetings where they've all been 2 levels above me, and I've managed it as though I was on their level. And I remember once I said, well, just a minute, I'll use the name Mike. Let's get back to the topic here. And you heard a few people in the room say, ooh. And I said, well, no, guys, look, we've only got an hour here, and we've got a long agenda that we need to get through. I'm not trying to corral the conversation, but if we don't focus on the items on the list, then we're not going to get through everything.
Yeah.
And I talked to them afterwards. He says, yeah, no, it's okay. I just wanted to explain this. I said, I understand, but you got to understand that my purpose here is to just move everything along so that way we only spend an hour of your time instead of 2. I mean, I'm here to help you guys.
Yeah. I agree with you. Absolutely. Yeah, you're right, man.
But yeah, I've even 3 levels above me once. I had to ask a director because he was hijacking the meeting. And so I said to him, I said, we'll call him Eddie. I said, well, Eddie, are you telling us that you want to be the sponsor for this project? And he kind of said, well, no, and he went quiet. 10 minutes later, he starts doing it again. So I said, Eddie, look, I'm a little confused here because you're talking to me as though you're the sponsor of the project, and I'm really getting confused here. So if you want us to do this, this, and this, that's fine, but are you taking on the authority as the sponsor here?
Mm-hmm.
And then he finally said yes. I said, okay, change. Things have changed. You've taken the responsibility. If you want to hijack, that's fine, but the responsibility is now yours.
Yeah. This, I think this ability, this ability comes on with experience.
Yeah.
With experience. I think, in this kind of situation, it's more important to, as you said before, the control of the emotions, for example.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie to you. Not everyone's going to like you for it, but you're not at work to be liked. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
You're there to get your job done, to help the company make money, to help the company reach its strategic objectives. And if you do your work really well, the people who pay, the people who are above you, they will like you. They'll appreciate that you're getting your work done on time.
Yeah, you are professional. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let me tell you guys a little story. About 10 years ago, I worked playing poker for a living. I worked for this company. We produced online poker software, and we worked with some of the largest gaming firms on the planet. William Hill to Poker Stars are 2 examples.
Mm-hmm.
And I came into the company and I saw how people were testing poker software, and I thought, yeah, these people don't know how to play poker. They're following a script that has them to check certain things. And the problem with the script is If there was a problem and it wasn't in the script, they wouldn't know there was a problem there. So I went to my manager and I said, look, boss, I think we could really benefit from people actually playing real poker. I recommend, every Friday, let's say from 2 to 4 or 2 to 3, we get all the testers together, we play a real game of poker, and we have prizes that they can take home. My manager thought it was a great idea. So we started playing poker. It was fun. It wasn't work. And it was amazing right away. People were saying, well, what do I do? They didn't know how to play. Well, after a few weeks, my manager came to me and said, yeah, the VP wants to talk to you. So we went and talked to the VP. He thanked me for his work. And he asked me, so what are you guys doing? He said, well, we're training people how to play poker to be better testers. And so what we're doing is every Friday for about an hour or two, we're playing poker. He says, yeah, somebody actually came to me to complain about this, and I just told them to get back to work and mind their own business. He used a few swear words in there, but you see, I had made an enemy somewhere because it looked like we were just playing fun when we weren't working, when really I was training people to be better testers, to stop bugs from occurring. Any of you, well, Vil, are you familiar with software developers?
Yes, I am.
Okay, let me ask you a question. How much does it cost to fix a bug after software has been deployed to the enterprise versus in the design stage? Which is cheaper?
Well, that's a simple question. Of course, it's much more cheaper to do things in design phase.
Yep, and I think other students in the class might be surprised to know by what factor it's cheaper. I think it's somewhere between 30 to 40 times cheaper to fix it in the design stage or the initial requirement stage. So you think of it here, guys, you've got a problem that you've noticed in the requirements gathering stage. And then it goes on to the design stage. Now it costs this much to fix. Well, once you've sent it out to the enterprise or you're selling it, the cost is now way up here. Can easily be 30 times more. So that's just an example of where if you're doing your work and you're sincere about it, you're not going to have problems. So let's do a bit of a review here. We're talking about giving presentations, which is a form of public speaking. But in order to do that, we need to stick to what it is we're planning on speaking on. So we would have an agenda of some sort. Okay? If the entire meeting is going to be you giving a speech or a presentation on a new technology, a virus, a business process, whatever it is, stick to that time. If you're giving the presentation, rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. Go over it many times. Something I've been using recently that makes me give much better presentations is I take my speech after I prepared it and I put it on my iPad. There's a little application, I forgot what it's called here. Let me just open it up. And it's just like a teleprompter. It's actually called teleprompter. Okay, so what happens is I've got my teleprompter here, and I set my scroll speed to match my speaking speed, and then I start. And so I have this in front of me.
It's a countdown?
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
A free application. And little tools like this can help you stay on topic. If you're old like me and you've got a bad memory, you never lose your thoughts again.
I think it's a similar application is used by the singer on a live concert, right?
Yeah, they have they're called teleprompters.
Teleprompters.
Yeah, presidents, prime ministers, basically they have like a TV on the stage, and then they have a stand with plexiglass and reflects it to the speaker.
Yes, yes. I noticed, yeah. There is also the possibility to head the clock.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I actually have another little application here.
Like just play.
Speak on time. No, it's called Speak on Time. So I press play, and here we go. It says, there. Now it counts down. When it gets down to about 3 minutes, it turns yellow. When I go over, it turns red.
Cool.
There are lots of tools you guys can use to help you. But I don't want to spend too much time going into that because otherwise I will have given you way too much information to absorb. Ahmed, what do you think of today's discussion?
Well, it is good if you are the one who controls the meeting. It is good, I mean, to follow these things. But I don't know, as a normal person, for example, who just gathers with his friends, I don't know.
If you're just hanging out with your friends, that's a very different environment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and what we're talking about is public speaking. When we talk with our friends, we don't consider that public speaking. You can have 10 or 40 friends and you never get nervous speaking to them. But once you go into class or you go into the boardroom and you start talking to just 3 people, that's where people start to get nervous.
Yeah, I see.
And if you just follow some of these steps, that will help you. Well, I'll say one more thing. What do you think is the biggest thing you could possibly do to prepare for any sort of speaking engagement?
For me, I need to set a time. I need points.
You need to prepare.
Yeah.
And when I say prepare, I mean prepare, rehearse. Prepare, rehearse, prepare, rehearse. Okay?
Okay.
Don't just read through it once or twice. If the meeting is very important, go over it many times. And that's the best way to be polished. Alexandra, what about you? Thoughts?
Me?
Yeah. No, the other Alexandra.
What can I add? These are very handy tips.
Do you disagree? Is there something I think Vil made a very good point. Well, this works great in theory. Where do you see the holes? Is there anything I can help you with?
It's something which works in theory, yeah, and why not making it close to life? I mean, bring it to life. If everybody tries to stick to that, then maybe it will not only be a theory, but we can, if we try to apply each point in life, then it should work. And if people go off topic, we should move them back. Mm-hmm. So I agree with all that.
Yeah, remember the Yoda principle?
Mm-hmm.
You know, do not try, do.
Yeah.
What I'm giving you guys here is not something I'm just making up. I went searching on an internet site before class and found this information. I'm a project manager. I've been so for over 10 years. I'm also an IT architect. I use these skills myself. And I'm speaking from experience here. So it does work. Once in a while, you'll just have a bad day and nothing seems to work. But more often than not, it does work. Eric, your thoughts?
I find it really, really rewarding. Recently, I made 2-hour presentation, and I really saw the difference between the one I didn't prepare and the one I prepare very well. So I think presentation does matter, and but I learned a lot when it comes to dealing with, I mean, external items or external things. For instance, when something tried to hijack the meeting, or when a question is asked out of context. Yeah, that's really that's what I really like in your speech.
Thank you. And also, don't be afraid if somebody asks you a question and you don't know the answer. That's a very good question. David, do you know the answer to that? Right? The reason why you have meetings is you bring all the people together that will be able to solve the issue, right? Yeah. So if you've got a problem, bring everybody together, and if somebody asks a question you don't know, you can pause, expecting the right person will answer it, such as when I ask you guys a question and nobody answers, then I'll pick on one of you. And that's no different from handling a meeting where we're trying to find answers. I might say, well, Giancarlo, what do you think of this? Is this something that you've dealt with in the past? Or, Ahmed, I remember you had a similar problem when you were working on the Portal project. Okay? You don't have to know all the answers. The reason why you have everybody there is so that you have the people there who can provide the answers, or at least get them. Right? And of course, don't forget, if people volunteer to do things, write it down. We call those takeaways. Assign tasks.
May I ask a question? Sorry, may I ask a question?
Yep.
So what to do with people who are attending to a meeting, but obviously doing something else at the same time, like reading and writing emails and or even playing games?
Shoot them. No, seriously, now it depends, because in today's modern world, you're going to get people doing other things at a meeting, and sometimes you'll be that person. Sometimes with certain people, you're happy just to have them there. However, if it is becoming disruptive, then what you need to do is pick on that person. When you see them working away on whatever it is they're working on, call them out, ask them for their opinion. And if they say, oh, I'm sorry, what was that you were talking about? Say, well, what's the last thing you remember? You know, really call them out on it. You say, we're talking about this. Then the next time it happens, do it again. Eventually they're going to get the point. But what you'll find is a lot of people who come to the meetings and they're doing other work, they're doing it because they don't see a relevance to what is being said to what they're doing. Yeah. Right? So it depends. You've got to determine, are they trying to be rude, or is it just that they've got other pressing matters and they don't see that what you're currently talking about being relevant to what they know?
But then perhaps the question is that why they are participating to that meeting anyway, if they do not see that relevant.
See, you're the facilitator, right? You may have an agenda of 6 or 8 different items, and that person there may not have any influence on any of them except for the last one or 2 of them, right? That happens. So what do you do when you have multiple issues and some people that are at your meeting only can provide input? Victor, don't mute me. What do you do, guys?
Can you repeat? I don't hear you. Are you muted?
No, I'm not muted. I'm just waiting for an answer. Can anybody give me an answer? What do you do in that situation?
I don't understand the situation. Sorry,
Okay.
teacher.
Who asked the question? Veal, was it you that asked the question?
Yes, I was just wondering that what to do with people who are really doing something else than listening to you.
Okay, so imagine this then. You've been invited to a meeting. You look at the agenda, and there's only 2 items on the agenda that you would have any say on or have any knowledge of, right? You've got a very, very busy day. So do you just sit there and wait for your items to come up, or do you do other work? Different scenario, isn't it? Right, Veal?
Yes, it's a really different scenario. I was.
Let me give you where I'm trying to. Let me explain where I'm trying to go.
Okay.
What I do sometimes is when I have a lot of people coming to a meeting with so many different topics. So I might be talking about asset management, purchasing, support. So I need a lot of people together, but I may not need them for the entire meeting. I do my best to cover off all that stuff at the beginning of the meeting. So if I know that Veal, I only need you for 2 items, I'm going to cover those at the beginning of the meeting and say, Veal, thank you. You're free to go if you want to. Respect people's time.
Okay.
Right? So always think of that first. Now, if a person's just being downright rude and you need them to participate in the entire meeting, just sort of call them out and say, look, John, this is really important. If this is a bad time for you, we can rebook the meeting at a later date. Right? That's one way. If that person is really critical, say, look, I understand you've got some busy items here, but we can't really discuss these issues without your input. Would you like us to rebook this meeting at a later date?
Okay.
You see what you're doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Different approaches. And part of it is psychology. I don't know if you guys have heard of something called EQ. Not IQ, EQ, emotional intelligence. If you're good at that sort of stuff, then this is where you would use it. Like, I don't have all the answers. I just do my best. And these are things that have worked for me.
Okay.
Giovanni, any questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just a question about the.
I have one.
Oops.
Sorry, I'm just speaking with Giovanni, please.
Yes, just a question about the preparation before a meeting. What do you think about a rehearsal just 15 minutes before the meeting? It's useful in your opinion, or you have to do nothing?
Well, you're always going to have prep time before a meeting. I don't know if it's 15 minutes or 3 days. Depends on what your meeting is. But guaranteed you're going to have prep time.
If I prepare my meeting and I don't know, for example, an important meeting with a lot of people, and this meeting will be tomorrow, for example, it's useful for you to rehearsal the issue, the items, 50 minutes, 10 minutes before the meeting.
Whatever you need. I can't give you a time. It depends on what it is. Like I said, it can be 15 minutes. It can be 3 days. Right? You're the one who has to ask that question. How much time do I need to do this properly? How much prep do I need?
Okay.
And sometimes you won't know until you actually start prepping and realizing, oh crap, I need to do a lot more work here.
Yeah, it's a planning issue.
Well, there you've said it. It's planning, right? I can't teach you how to plan. That's something you've just got to learn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, guys, we're getting to the end of the class now. We've just got about a minute left. I want to thank each and every one of you for taking time to choose me as your teacher for this hour. I do have one more class today. If you guys are night owls, it's at, I think, 8 o'clock this evening. Yeah, 8 o'clock this evening, and it's a pronunciation class. And then, of course, I'm back tomorrow for 2 classes. Saturday morning, Alexandra and Beal, is I have 2 early morning classes.
Yeah, I already checked your schedule.
Yeah, I haven't put a lesson plan in there yet, but I will. I think one will be academic English and the other one will be pronunciation, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Could you make the earlier one about advanced English, because I think I won't be able to come later.
Well, they're usually both advanced, but you got to understand it's early in the morning for me, so I don't want to do a ton of preparation work for the earliest class.
Alexandra is well in love with Simon classing.
Thank you, teacher.
You're welcome, guys.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you, teacher. I'll see you again.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Simon.
you.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye.
Bye, guys.